Happening now, what we know about a COVID-19 outbreak at the Chautauqua County Jail. Plus, Jamestown's newly sworn-in police chief joins us live in his first interview after officially starting the job this week.
And it's finally starting to look a lot like Christmas across much of the area. We had that heavy snowfall. We'll talk about the snowfall totals. Plus, is there any better weather ahead? Next, as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Chautauqua County Sheriff says all inmates and staff at the county jail are undergoing rapid testing for COVID-19 after more than 24 inmates and a guard tested positive for the virus. Sheriff Jim Quattrone tells us 4 inmates tested positive for the virus yesterday morning, which prompted the jail to test all 48 inmates and 7 corrections officers working in the impacted unit. He says the jail has already taken the steps to stop the spread of COVID-19 ahead of today's testing effort.
Chautauqua County Public Health and Chautauqua County Emergency Services paramedics are assisting us in getting the samples. Public Health is running the test for us. We hope to have that testing done by the end of the day. Currently, we have inmates isolated as well as lockdown, so no potential spread will continue with that lockdown.
Quattrone says of the 26 inmates who tested positive, only 1 is showing symptoms of the virus. He says the man is experiencing mild effects at this time. Additionally, he says the correction officer who tested positive is recovering. The sheriff's office will continue to provide updates as testing is finished and more information becomes available. Well, 2 new COVID-19 related deaths were reported in Cattaraugus County overnight. The Cattaraugus County Health Department says a 55-year-old woman developed cardiac failure while a 78-year-old man developed respiratory failure. Both, officials report, were unable to overcome their illness despite medical treatment. This is the 28th and 29th COVID-19 related death reported there. Additionally, the county recorded 39 new cases of the virus with 352 active. 21 people are hospitalized in the county, and the 7-day average positivity rate is now 6.4%. Well, a new COVID-19 death was reported in Chautauqua County yesterday, with 29 new cases tallied and 171 active. Well, from lost jobs to medical bills, the COVID-19 pandemic has put a major unexpected strain on the finances of millions of Americans. And as the end of the year approaches, some financial lifelines are set to expire. Karen Kaifa reports from Washington on some members of Congress and their plan to see more approved aid and more of that aid distributed before President-elect Biden's inauguration.
Joe Biden introduced a diverse team of experienced economic experts he says will chart his administration's course for the U.S. recovery.
The team I'm announcing today will play a critical role in shaping our plan for action starting on day 1 and move fast to revive this economy.
Those close to the president-elect say his plans for his first 100 days in office include an expansive stimulus plan. But a group of bipartisan senators who unveiled their own $908 billion proposal Tuesday say Americans need help before January 20th.
We've worked night and day throughout the Thanksgiving recess because we recognize that families all across America are struggling.
Relief measures put in place earlier in the year, like a moratorium on evictions and a federal student loan payment freeze, are set to expire within weeks, leaving millions hoping Republicans and Democrats will put aside the politics and make a deal before year's end.
Let's hope our Democratic colleagues will finally let us make law in all the enormously important areas where we do not even disagree.
The Republican leader's idea of action on COVID has been to bring partisan legislation to the floor and then demand everyone accept it.
Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had their first talk since the November 3rd election, though Mnuchin said it was more about the December 11th government funding deadline. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Karen, thank you. Speaking of stimulus, a bipartisan group of D.C. lawmakers have announced a $908 billion pandemic relief plan. Yesterday, lawmakers detailed their plan meant to help families, businesses, workers, and healthcare providers. The effort is meant to break up the partisan impasse that's been going on for months in D.C. Congressman Tom Reed was among several senators and representatives who are supporting this act.
We work tirelessly with our Senate partners to bring together, I think, a common sense proposal based on the principles of the Problem Solvers Caucus. We are proud Republicans, we are proud Democrats, we are proud House of Representative members, and we are proud senators. But at the end of the day, we are fundamentally, first and foremost, proud Americans. And our job here in this great Capitol and in the Dome is to listen to the American people. And the American people are suffering. It is time, as my colleagues have said, to deliver these results for them.
Now, members in the group have tried to find areas they could agree on. That includes extending unemployment benefits, expanding school funding, providing money for more testing, and vaccine distribution. So far, the new stimulus plan does not have any buy-in from the White House or other congressional leaders. Senators are hoping the plan can be attached to the spending bill that funds the government, which has a deadline of December 11th. Well, we thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now as we get a check of our local news and weather. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Destiny. Good to see Julie, Brian, Sheila, Nicole, Pam, and Linda as well. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Well, certainly it was a blustery day yesterday, and that bled into the night. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us live with more on our First Defense weather. And Dakota, really, we got a good taste of winter, and it looks like, at least this time around, the snow is going to stay for a little while.
Yes, I mean, the snow is going to be sticking around for at least a little bit. I mean, we're not going to see any warmer temperatures, relatively warmer, that's going to melt the snow. So if you like the snow, yeah, you're probably going to like this view coming from Findlay Lake. You can see the snowfall accumulation there that occurred 30 degrees right now in Findlay Lake, but it is going to be breezy today. Now, I took this picture from downtown, of course. Studios here are, of course, located here downtown in the Spain building, located here on 3rd Street. And this is overlooking basically 3rd Street here. This was when the snow was starting to pick up in intensity yesterday afternoon. And I sent this to us of the trees in Casadega yesterday, showing you the snowfall there. And of course, our own Sean Sweatman, he Scepter was out last night. He took a drive down to Mayville. And yeah, how about that? The Christmas trees on the there. Snowfall accumulation really making it look like winter out there. So any pictures or videos of the weather, Hunters WX on Twitter, the First Defense weather page on Facebook, and always use that hashtag MyLocalWX. That's how we see them in the weather office. So here we go with the radar. This is the satellite and radar data, and it shows you that the snow that we had is way up there. There it goes. And the low pressure area has moved away from here. So now the snow is tapered off, and now we're just going to be left with the cold. 34 here in town, 35 Mayville, 33 Clymer, 34 Corey, 37 in Brant, and you're looking at 34 in Randolph and 30 over in Olean. And temperatures really aren't going to budge too much from where they are now. So any leftover snowflakes come to an end. Some partial sunshine later this afternoon. It stays breezy and chilly. 31 to 40s are high temp range with that west wind 15 to 30 miles per hour. Now, we do have a better day coming up tomorrow, and then the weather starts to get a little unsettled just a tiny bit as we go throughout the rest of the week. I'll tell you all about it with that 42 degrees and sunny 7-day later in the show. Justin?
Dakota, thank you. As the wait for a widely distributed COVID-19 vaccine continues, Governor Andrew Cuomo says there will be several challenges to ensure that the distribution rolls out smoothly. As New York State Capitol correspondent Karina Campabianca explains, there are 3 main challenges when it comes to distributing the vaccine.
The light at the end of the tunnel is the vaccination. And that will end this epidemic.
But the governor says there are 3 main challenges when it comes to vaccine distribution.
Distributing the vaccine is going to be the greatest governmental undertaking since COVID began.
The governor says distribution will be expensive and that states need more funding to do so. Additionally, he says there will be challenges to administering the vaccine to Black, brown, and poor communities.
They're underserved by healthcare facilities, and their rate of skepticism is higher. It's going to be an extensive effort to outreach to Black, brown, and poor communities.
He says the third issue is a data share agreement from the federal government about who is vaccinated.
The data sharing agreement from the federal government specifically says the state should identify recipients using such identifiers as Social Security number, driver's license ID, or passport number. These are proxies for citizenship.
Meanwhile, in a response to the governor's letter to HHS regarding the issue, White House spokesman Michael Barr said such information would only be used to support the unprecedented private-public partnership continuing to harness the full power of the federal government, private sector, military, and scientific community to combat the coronavirus and save lives. A data agreement would request only minimal information and under no circumstances require, otherwise gather or maintain Social Security numbers, passport numbers, or driver's license numbers. In Albany, Karina Capabianca.
Karina, thank you. A survey from the Medical Society of New York showed that 80% of physicians in the state plan to get a vaccine once it's widely available, and that nearly 70% of them estimate that at least half of their patients will receive it once it's available. Well, starting next year, those who travel New York State's Thruway will be paying more in tolls. The Thruway Authority Board of Directors approved an increase in toll rates this week, part of the conversion to cashless tolling. Those without an Easy Pass, who will now be required to pay by mail, will see a 30% tolling increase. Additionally, out-of-state Easy Pass customers will see an increase of 15%. Now, Easy Pass customers who live here in New York will not be impacted by this change. Well, straight ahead here, Jamestown Police Chief Tim Jackson joins us live to talk about his vision for the police department. Next, as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. This week, Jamestown City Council approved the mayor's nomination for police chief, making interim chief Tim Jackson the city's next top law enforcement leader. Joining us live on the program to talk about his vision for the department is Chief Tim Jackson. Sir, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, in the last few months, you've had some time working in the chief's office as interim chief. Now that you've been sworn in, what's it like officially taking over the reins of the department?
It's pretty exciting, actually. I have a lot planned for the department, a lot of initiatives I'd like to start on, and some of them we have started on to a degree. But now that it's official, I've got a lot of ideas I'd like to have implemented, and we plan on getting started on that. Pretty exciting.
Perfect. This year we've seen a lot of everything from the COVID pandemic to protests surrounding police injustice. For you, what's your plan to guide the department through this time?
More community engagement, more engagement with the community from the police department. I've got a lot of feedback from the community. They'd like to see more officers walking the beat. We've started doing that, weather permitting. More bike patrol. We've started that. Obviously, we can't do that this time of the year, but that's something that we're going to do more of. Posting our weekly statistics of what the department does. We've started doing that on our social media platforms. Cultural diversity training, awareness training. We're going to do that. And one of the big things we plan on doing next year is the Citizens Police Academy. And that acts as a great tool for communication between the department and the community. And we learn probably just as much, if not more, than the citizens that attend it. So we have a lot in store.
Yeah, certainly. And I know the city in the past has had a good amount of neighborhood watch groups, but over the years, interest has slipped a little bit. With having that academy, is that so that people can come and kind of understand a little bit more what the police are going through on a day-to-day, but also the officers understand a little more perspective from those who live here?
Yes, that's exactly it. They would get an inside look as to what the police officer's training is, and they would have a better perspective of why the officers do the things he or she does on the job. And it's great tool to have.
Yeah, certainly. Now, for the community, there is a lot that people are talking about. I know the mayor has addressed that he really wants a chief who can connect with the community, and it sounds like you're already heading on that path. Mm-hmm. How important is it to talk with people and get to know them better, but also understand what issues that they have?
It's extremely important. I think the chief's position, one of the duties of a chief is to be the bridge between the community and the police department. I think if you have that solid bridge, we can all work together. We all can become partners. And events like a town hall meeting where there's open dialogue, extremely important.
Now, a lot has changed in law enforcement over the last few years. For you, what's the biggest thing that has changed for policing within the last decade?
Within the last decade, I would say partially the Governor's Reform Act. I don't think it's a reform act per se. I think it's reevaluating your policies and procedures as a police department and getting community input as to what the community wants out of its police department. I think we need more community input and engagement. I think that's the biggest change.
Where do you think that the perceived disconnect has come from? You know, when you look, maybe not so much locally, I know we've had some protests and we've had groups, but at the same time, you see that communication almost immediately. Your predecessor, Chief Snellings, went to the first of many protests that they had and talked with the community. But in other areas, there isn't that discussion. For you, what do you think stands in the way from talking back and forth?
I think we need to just put more effort into doing it. I don't think there's really any barrier per se that stands in the way. I think we just need to focus on that more and make sure that happens. I think we have an excellent group of officers here, detective supervisors, and if we work together, we can accomplish anything, I think. So, and that's one of them. We will accomplish that. Better community engagement.
Is that what is leading the discussion going forward, is trying to get more engagement from the community and not so much transparency, because, you know, from our perspective in the news media, JPD does a good job of keeping everyone in the know, whether it would be, you know, various crime crackdowns, arrests, you know, just public awareness almost, especially, you know, say the seatbelt thing, the seatbelt law that they changed. So now you have to buckle your seatbelt in the back seat of a car. You know, something like that is not so much, well, day one everyone's going to get a ticket, but rather just kind of talking to people and saying, this is the new change, this is what we have to do to keep people safe.
Yes, yeah, we need input. The community plays a big part in how the police does its job. So we need the input, and we want to hear from the community what they want out of their police department. What's
the best way for people to do that?
Well, there's a lot of different ways. They can simply call and meet with me. We're going to be setting up town hall meetings. We've been having community group meetings. Currently, there are stakeholder meetings to work on the governor's plan, where a citizen can volunteer to be part of a group and put their ideas out there. So there's quite a few ways to do that.
Well, we thank you so much for your time today. Finally, what is your message to people living here in Jamestown?
Tell the police department what you want. Communicate to us. We need to hear it.
All right. Jamestown Police Chief Tim Jackson joining us on the broadcast today. Sir, thank you for your time. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Well, now let's get a check of our First Defense weather forecast.
First Defense weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com. Oh boy, it's looking like winter out there. Let's take a look at those snowfall totals. And thank you to everybody who sent in those snowfall totals, because look at this. Sherman got 12 inches, 1 foot of snow exactly on the nose. Warren, 10.7 inches. Mayville, 10.5. Perrysburg in the hills of Cattaraugus County, 2.9. Cattaraugus, the town itself, 9 inches, and Fredonia, 8 inches. So, I mean, you know, the event played out almost in line with what we were expecting. Now, how much snow did we get here in town? Well, officially at the airport, we gauged 4 inches of snow, and that brings our seasonal total now to 6.5 inches. And actually, another way of looking at this, how do you like my little snowman here? He's throwing snowballs at you. Woo, there you go. You know, another way of looking at this is kind of where we were last year. At this time last year, we had 7.9 inches of snow for the season, and we're at 6.5 right now. So we've played catch up very nicely to where we were at this time last year. But do you know who loves the snow? The ski resorts. As of right now, Holiday Valley was supposed to open in the last week of November, but they've pushed it back now. They're hoping to open on the 12th or should I say the 11th of this month, but they have reported 9 inches of new snow there at the ski resort. None of the other ski resorts across the area have basically announced any opening dates, but of course, we'll keep you updated when they do announce the opening dates for the season. So that snow is, woo, it's out of here. That low pressure area has moved way up into Quebec, Canada. It's out of here, and now we're starting to see high pressure ridges set up to the west. These two spinning H's is a high pressure ridge. This is going to slide across the area tomorrow and give us likely the best weather probably throughout the next 7 to 10 days. I mean, it's really going to be fantastic tomorrow, although it's still going to be chilly though, and the satellite and radar shows you we just have those socked in, but we may see a few peaks of sunshine later in the day, especially later this afternoon. Right now, the Sky Vision camera on top of the Doubletree Hotel, it's not even freezing, but it's freezing 34. That's actually 1 degree above our forecasted high for today, actually. But it's windy, though. West at 22 and a wind gust at 31 miles an hour. That's really going to be the main problem throughout the afternoon. It's those wind gusts. So the zone forecast. Yeah, temperatures likely mid-30s here, as I just showed you. We're already past our forecast high here in Jamestown, so we may end the day 34, 35 degrees. We'll see where we end up. But look at this wind, 15 to 30 miles an hour, those gusts near 40. Now, in high definition, the next 7 days of your life, brought to you by 42 Degrees and Sunny, right there. 41 tomorrow, much better. At least we'll have a lot of sunshine. A few rain showers Friday, 40 degrees, and not a big deal. Basically, Saturday all the way through Tuesday, it's going to be somewhat unsettled. Each day, there will be a chance for a isolated rain or snow shower, but neither day will be a total washout, and there should be some partial sunshine in between each days, with temperatures holding in the mid to upper 30s. Justin.
All right, Dakota, thank you. Well, do you know any healthcare workers or first responders that might need a little pick-me-up? Well, they can now get free coffee over at Starbucks. To show appreciation for frontline workers, Starbucks is offering a free tall brewed coffee, hot or iced, through the end of the year. Starbucks says the list of those eligible for freebies is pretty extensive. It includes doctors, nurses, pharmacists, dispatchers, firefighters, paramedics, police officers, dentists, mental health care workers, active duty military, public health care workers, or any hospital staff. All you got to do is show your ID. Well, animal lovers across the country are celebrating their mixed breed dogs today. That's because it's National Mutt Day. These pups are so special, they actually get 2 days a year, one in December, another in July. Pet celebrity expert and animal advocate Colleen Page started National Mutt Day back in 2005. The day is an opportunity to spotlight mixed breed dogs, including millions of shelters wanting to have a new home. Now, if you're not up for adopting a new pet, you could celebrate National Mutt Day by donating or volunteering at a shelter like our friends at the Chautauqua County Humane Society. You can also share your enthusiasm for mixed breeds on social media using the hashtag National Mutt Day. Certainly really exciting, and we love our furry friends down there. Always chqhumane.org. That's the place to go if you want to check out some friends and maybe take one home. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comments down below. Good to see Lonnie, Kendra, Christian, Sue, Joseph, and Christopher as well. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with another live look over downtown Jamestown, where the snow is finally subsided. Of course, we remind you, when you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. Just search WNY News Now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. We're back here tomorrow, live at noon, with a special preview of this Friday's holiday parade in reverse.